Hi everyone, so today I'm debating how I'm going to try this out. I picked up recently an Addi Express circular knitting machine. It's the King one, like the larger one. I think they have the little small guy, and then they have one that does like an I-cord that's even smaller. I think that's 46 pins, so we'll check out on that in just a minute. So yeah, so it's the Addi Express King size. It has 46 pins or needles, and then I also picked up one that's like a Centro type, and what's funny is the link does not say Centro or the item, but it looks just like it, and they're both from Amazon, and I will link them in the description box. Those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. What I think I'm going to do in this video is open both of them. We'll take a quick look, and I'll set one of them up in this video, and I'll set the other one up in a different video. Because it's a lot of information, and if you're just interested in the Addi, Express, the king size, then you'll see that, I think, today. And then I'll do one specifically just for the Centro, but I did want to show you guys because it does come with different pin numbers. So this one, the Centro, I think it's that one. Actually, might be this box, we'll see. Can have, I think, 48 pins, 40, 30 something, 22. They have all different sizes. The reason I got 40 is so that it'd be a little bit smaller than the Addi one. I don't need two that are the same size. Also, if I want to do like leg warmers, I thought it'd be easier to do it in something that's a little bit smaller. And also, once my daughter sees me doing this, I'm sure she's going to want to play too. So she'll have a machine that's a little bit smaller that she can use. What else? So a long time ago, these are not new to me. I've played with circular knitting machines. Mostly they were like kids' toy types, so they made like the smallest little project, and it was just like laughable, really. So what we're gonna do today is make something good. I do want to make like a simple project, but I mean, there are tons of videos out there on these kind of machines. They really went viral kind of recently, and so there's just a lot of videos. So instead of just cranking out something that's just a plain, stitch, I guess it's stockinette stitch or whatever it is that this machine does, what I'm going to do is try to add a little texture to maybe making a hat. Okay, so it's still the same thing. We're going to cast on the same. We're going to cast off, different ways to do all those kinds of things. Mostly people do the basic way where you're just casting on in front and behind the pins. I saw an Addi video that was in German, so, they didn't have translations. But to cast on, they went around each pin, which I thought was interesting. I'm like, huh. So I wonder what the instructions say, because literally everybody you see casts on the way I would do it the way I did with like the toy machine I used to play with. So we'll see. So we'll open that in just a minute. I do also want to show you, I picked these up on Amazon. They're so pretty. They're little, oh, was my address there. I'll try to blur that. They're just like little puffs for the top of your hats or whatever you want to do with them. But this set was so pretty. I like the colors that are in here and everything. So I don't know if we'll add that today, but I do have them. And these are, I think, 3-inch. I don't know what it says on here. Either way, I'll have them linked there and you can check that out. But we'll see if we play with that today. I just had them here, so I brought them out. So what I'm going to do is open these boxes. I have them upside down for a reason, because obviously my address is on the other side. And I only use the mic that is on my camera, so I am sorry if you can't hear me right now. It should be okay, because the mic is up in front. What I'm going to do is just open both of these guys up. And let's see. Ooh, that's a cute box. I like the way this box is shaped. Okay, already not the packaging I expected. This looks very different from the packaging you normally see with an Addi machine. It's usually like red and black. So, I mean, we will see. It says Addi, and then it has some different languages there. Luxury for your hands. Pretty. I mean, it's packaged really nicely. I love this. But very different from what I've seen the old packaging. What I do want to say about this too is I picked this up on Amazon, and it's obviously more expensive than like a Centro machine or a machine that's, these other basic ones. It's like $150 right now, and these are usually like $300. And even if you go on eBay and try to find one that someone is selling used, they want like $125, $150 plus shipping possibly. So at $150 already, brand new, I'm like, yeah. This other one I think was just under $50. But again, this is the 40 pin size. So I'm gonna open this one real quick and I'll be right back. So this one, yeah, the box is smaller, and this is pretty much what I expected for the look of it. And yes, I live here, so, I have kids and we're at the dining room table, so there's all kinds of snacks and things here. But it says knitting machine. See, it does say Centro, and like I said, the link had the images, but it didn't say Centro on it. Magic loop loom, more than a toy, it says. And easy to knit, fascinating design pattern, practical new type pattern. And like I said, this is the 40 pin one. What's really funny is like some of these images here, it tells you on the listing, like, oh, that's what they're showing. Like if you knit something, that's what it would look like. Not knitting it on here, but knitting just in real life, you know? So it's kind of funny because it's like, yeah, it's not that easy to do things like this. Or you might have to add some, like, what's that called when you stitch on top of the stitches? Like repeat stitching, but you do it afterwards. So it looks really nice. But anyway, it's also, you know, Fair Isle kind of knit look you can do. Yeah, I mean, look at this. They're like, oh, it's a knitted hat, but okay. So yeah, it's very interesting what it says. It does say an example. They're like, that's an example of knitting. It's kind of funny. So I will unbox this completely in a separate video. I think we should just keep it separate, but I did want to show you this little guy. Looks great. Let me rearrange the camera angle and we'll open up the Addi. Yeah, guys, this stuff came in last week. I just haven't had a chance to play with it because it's been so overcast, and you know, when I'm in my dining room, I need more lighting, you know, so maybe that's nice that even though we're in spring going into summer, that it's still overcast out here in San Diego, so I feel like knitting something, you know. Okay, so on the side here has some info. 46 pins or needles. The yarn, it says 48 millimeters, so US 6 to 11. That's the size that is preferable. Oh yes, it does knit in circular and in flat panels, but it says 35 centimeters or 13.8 inches. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about, the circular. And if you're doing a flat panel, it can be up to 45 centimeters or 17.7 inches. Not bad. Okay. This does scare me a little bit because I'm not gonna lie, Amazon sometimes you'll buy something and you think it's that brand and then it's like an off brand even though it still says Addi. Or like my husband, I know we bought Birkenstocks before and they weren't really Birkenstocks, you can tell. Right? When they come in, it's like, And then he had gotten some Olokai sandals, were definitely not Olokai, so I don't know what that's about. Really kind of bothersome, but hopefully this is the real deal. And I'm just giving that disclaimer just in case because like I said in the past, yeah. Really cute little hearts on the packaging, how adorable. And here is our machine, and yeah, just classic. I mean, they've been making this machine forever. I remember whenever I first started knitting and things, this was already around. I mean, it's just their basic design, you know. It always pretty much looked like this, the black and the red, I love it. The gold, we have our counter here. I think it automatically skips to that, you know, your first round, second round, third round, then you reset it as you need to. It has the handle. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's things that you can add on here so that a drill spins this for you, which to me is just too fast. Like I want to be able to see kind of that every stitch is being caught, but I think once you're comfortable with this and you're pretty sure your machine's awesome that you can do things like that. Now when I said that, it's really for the Centro. I don't know if they have one for Addi. I'm sure they do. People very creative, you know, but here we have the machine. And in the packaging, we have, I'm sure, the legs and all that kind of stuff, right? So here we have, I'm going to assume these are legs. I thought there'd be 4, yeah. I was like, there's 3, 4, so we will put those on in just a minute. These clamps help you hold your machine to your table, which is very important. Or, you know, if it's not, if you want to hold it and keep going, but a lot of people say you drop stitches if it's not really securely attached because your machine's kind of doing some wonky stuff and maybe working harder when you're holding it in a certain spot and not the other and all those kinds of things. So you definitely want to anchor it. Really cool. It does come with some extra pins, which is awesome. I didn't know that. So I know you can buy replacements. I don't know how they would break or what would happen. I guess it depends because sometimes people use yarns that the machine doesn't really want and something happens and it gets like real tight and you still force it and maybe that's when these break. I don't know. Hopefully we'll just have a smooth time of it and really pay attention to the yarn that we're using, right? So it does come with a black one because there are 3 black pins, I believe, in the machine and everything else is white. So that's why you have 4 white ones. And then you have a little needle that has a little curve to it, so that's nice when you go to pick up your stitches when you're done. Again, there's different ways to cast on, cast off. You can use waste yarn, which I think for my projects I'll probably be doing mostly those kinds of things, but today we're just going to cast on, do some stitching for, you know, most of the rounds of the hat, and then maybe like a pattern stitch, just something quick. I had seen a video that I was like, oh, I'll just link to you so you guys won't see more of a tutorial on that because it seems like this person came up with this pattern. But then, you know, as I watched that video, there was another video offered to me that was from like 2 years prior, which was the same kind of stitch. So obviously that person did come up with the pattern. And then there's videos that are like 13, 11 years old and you'll see those stitches. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna say it's not my idea. It wasn't my pattern. I'm just gonna do it here and then you guys can search for different videos. There are just so many, especially if you want patterns. Really search out like Addi patterns or whatever, circular knitting machine patterns, because otherwise everybody's video is just literally just cranking it, you know? So there's different things, obviously different projects you can make from beginner to more difficult. Okay, this is cool because on the link or on the listing, it shows the machine. It didn't really show this, but this is an added value because these things do cost like however much more money, you know, but it's nice that it's here. So it's the Addi stopper, 2 Addi Express stoppers. And there's reasons why you want to use this, which I don't recall right now. And I don't remember if it's for the flat panel or at least so you know what you're doing. But either way, it's a nice thing to have. And I was curious about that because I did see it like in the wording and not in the picture, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always like very aware of like eBay. Okay, if it's in the image, you know, you receive it or those kinds of things. So it wasn't in the picture, but it was in the wording or something like that. So that's cool. Again, these are like 10 or 15 bucks. So that's nice. And then it comes with instruction, which you'll definitely want to read. I am not the type of person that can read this and just be like, oh, that's what they mean, you know, or like if the images, look, it's colored images, which is really nice. Obviously this, they have the English and German and French. And they're showing you some different stuff here. I guess if you want to color change, yeah, multicolor knitting, which is also very easy. But today we're just going to cast on. We're going to do one pattern and we're going to cast off. Okay, so that's what we're aiming for today. And so they're showing you the different items that you should have. And again, even in this picture, they show you that you should have like these guys, but it does come with the black one. It came with the Addi stopper, you know, some extra things. So let's put the legs on. I'll rearrange my angle and I'll be right back. So these things are definitely just taped all around this. I'm just kind of getting in there to cut that. And we're just going to turn on our machine. I would want to lay something down because my table's obviously a table. It's wood. It's hard, but I don't want to have any reason to hurt this machine. But you know, with things kind of flopping out there. But we're going to turn it over and just screw our 4 legs in. So there it is. I love that they are like rubberized there, the grip on them. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very easy to see, and it does get tighter. Okay, I was gonna say it kind of turned anyway, but no, it does tighten up to where it's you're not gonna be able to turn it anymore. So I'll go ahead and pop all 4 in, and I'll be right back. So there are our legs. Again, this facing forward, and see some of these pins came up for no reason, but I'll just spin it back around, I guess. Why not? Until they go back down. I'm just turning it. Feels very smooth. I love that this little handle, you don't actually have to like hold it. I'm sorry if my whole arm was in front. You just kind of, I'll reposition myself for the actual video. But back to the front, right? And these guys weren't up earlier, so that's what I'm trying to see, like, what is going on now? Huh, interesting. Okay, well, they're up now. Oh, I do want to see if it passes. There it goes, row 1, right? And I think to redo this, to reset it, let me read the instruction, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, you just have to click through, and you click through basically all the digits, right? Back to 0, 0, 0 if you want to reset it, okay? And we have this, and we have these. And so basically I should just stick this to my table, and let me open this guy up. And now you see that there are 2 of them, right? So you're gonna hook them around the legs to the front of your table, or surface, whatever it is that you're using. I was planning on using like a TV tray kind of thing, like a dinner tray kind of thing, just go sit down. But the one I have, well, not but, the one I have has like a little area you can put your foot, so like it'll hold it steady, you know? So I would do like an old, what's it called? Sewing machine. You go like this, but I would just put my feet there to hold it steady, right? But anyway, so we're gonna clip these on, and I didn't read anything about this, so let's see what this looks like. It's gonna hold there. Obviously this part holds to your table. I'll back up and show you that in just a second. Let me just back up. Sorry about the angle, but I'm just kind of flipping that. Actually, I probably need, ooh, I almost had it. So let me loosen it up a little bit. I was like, oh, it's way too big, but it was pretty much where it needs to be. Yeah, so we're gonna hook on to our legs, right? And then down as low as your table will need, so I need a little bit more. Yep, basically there, and then tighten it back up to hold it down. I'm not gonna do it quite yet because I'm gonna get the second one going. Sorry if you can't hear me. We're just tightening it. Of course, just keep turning it until it feels nice and snug, right? You're not trying to crack your feet. And honestly, the plastic on this doesn't feel like chintzy or cheap. It feels really nice. So let me attach the other one, and I'll be right back. They definitely obviously show you how you want to put it, and they have the hook behind. Mine are just kind of to the left here, so you know, obviously you want to set it up so they're holding on just like that. Really easy to work with. Set the liner counter to 0, turn the black knob. Just like I showed you earlier, right? So we're back at 0, which is fine. And I'm just gonna go grab some yarn because we are going to get started. So plain knitting. You know, I call it stockinette stitch at the beginning because that's what it looks like, but stockinette's a little, I don't know, it's different because if you're working it in real life, you're doing knit and purls, and the other one, if you just do a garter stitch, you're just knitting, and it has a different look. But this machine is just going around and around, right? So it's doing its thing. I don't understand that part of it. I'm gonna be honest, but it looks like just like a plain, beautiful knit panel, basically, is what we're gonna end up with, or pattern. And yeah, so this one is just showing you to go ahead and just go, I guess. And as you see these pictures, I mean, it is super basic. Like they're like, put it in here. Okay, cool. And then what? And because the next one is pretty much going and gone. Again, in their own videos, they're showing that you loop it around each thing, which I'm sure it has a different cast on, right? It looks different. So that's kind of interesting. But that is for the plain knitting, and so the panel knitting, and it's basically the same image, or images, right? For the most part. And I should have shown you guys that. Oh, silly me. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Well, let me show you it's right here. This little guy here, if you switch it to wherever you need it to be, in the red, if you switch it up like this, that's panel knitting. So if you just want a flat panel, and then switch it down, and it says plain knitting, and so it has a little red sign. It says on there, it says panel knitting, and then the other one says circular knitting, so you're not going to get confused with that. I am going to readjust my camera just in a minute. I'm going to go find some yarn, which I'm just going to start with worsted weight yarn. I mean, that's just your basic, you know, just basic stuff. So I will be right back. Okay guys, so in their instruction they are saying to just start with this first black needle. Okay, see how this one's coming up? And so I'm just going to turn it, and he's kind of right here. Okay, and I'm just going to use this worsted weight yarn, again, big twist. I think this is from Joanne, I want to say, size 4, or yeah, basically 4 weight, worsted medium, just your basic everyday stuff. This color is called Tweed, and nicely enough, it was already kind of pulled out here, so I think that's already my center. I'm going to pull out more because even as I pull, I can feel it. It's getting caught right there. See this big old knot? So things like this can also be problematic, but we have that. And what's interesting with this one is it doesn't have a yarn tensioner. I mean, this is basically it, but didn't they have a picture in here about that? Maybe not. I thought I saw one. No, I guess that was the other machine. I'm getting confused. Okay, so I'm going to probably put this on the floor. If I was sitting down, it would be on my lap, but I'm not sitting in front of the machine right now. I'm standing here. So I'm going to make sure that this first part is not all wound up. This is bad. This is why I showed you guys the yarn winder the other day. But this is a huge skein of yarn, so I'm just going to work right off the skein. But if you want to do some yarn winding, make your little cakes, they will be easier because they'll have already worked these kinks out. So, okay. And it says to just drop some into the middle of your machine. Now, it depends on what you're doing. We're not doing waste yarn today. We're not doing anything like that. So I do need some, but at the same time, we're just going to pull this tight at the end when we go to make our hat. So it doesn't have to be that much, but like I said, just enough to put in the middle of the machine. Now it's probably like a foot, maybe. Okay. And let me show you what they show, because although the wording is very plain, it's very straightforward, I think they did a good job with that. So they're basically saying to pull some of the thread off and through the middle of the machine, like I said, just to drop it in there. Then wrap the yarn around the black needle on the right. There are 3 needles on the right. Okay, it's actually on the left, right? I mean, I don't even know what they mean about the yarn needle on the right, unless... who knows? But you're going to go in front and behind and front and behind, basically, is what they're telling you. So I'm going to go in front of this black needle, right? And so I'm just going to let that go. Now you can tie it on here if you want to loosen it later, but for now you're just kind of making sure it's in front of this needle, basically. So when we turn the handle, I'm just going to hold it like this a little bit. When I turn the handle, that one's going to go down, and this guy came up. Now I'm just letting that go. Behind this one, and as I keep turning, in front of this one, behind that one, in front of this one, behind, in front. Okay, so that's what I'm going to keep doing behind that one, in front of this one. Now this tweed is very, see, okay, that's behind that one, but in front of the next one. I already feel like that one was wanting to slip. Behind, in front. Behind, in front. Oopsie. See, I want to get in front of that one behind. Basically, the one that's in the front, you want to make sure it's catching whenever you have a front one. And I'm doing this super slow. Okay, so on this last one, it is behind. And it does make mention there in the wording here that start turning the handle slowly like we just did, alternating the position of your yarn from in front of to behind of the rising needles. Okay, so that's step 3. Step 4 says when you reach the first black needle, the right one, again, which is funny because again, it's on the left. I don't know. I was like, maybe I'm turning it the wrong way, but I'm turning it forward. I mean, I don't think you're gonna turn it towards you, right? Again, the yarn runs outward, meaning it's behind, right? So that's fine. Okay, so now we're gonna put it into, it says to go ahead and you can reset this if you want. I mean, it just did one round. So that's up to you. So I'm gonna leave, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and reset it just because I don't want to confuse anybody because we're gonna do January. Oh my goodness, I got a hiccup. Hopefully that goes away. I'm gonna go ahead and reset it. Usually for a hat, you do like 120 rows. So we're gonna do quite a bit of rows and then I'll let you know how many that is before we do our pattern. So basically I'm making this so that the inside of the hat, it's basically a double thickness hat. You don't have to do that. If you want to just roll it through and just do like 60 and then finish it off, it's going to be very gossamer, very kind of gauzy kind of a hat, okay? Or a stitch. So I'm going to double mine up. So that means the first part of this, what we're doing, we're just going to go knit, 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 you know, round, 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 is just creating what's going to be tucked inside of the hat, because what's going to be is like a long tube basically, and we're going to shove one side inside itself, right? So it makes like a shorter tube that we tie off at the top. And so this first part is just going to be not pattern stitch, it's just going to be cranking, 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 okay? Now, they're saying after this one, right, we already got this guy, let me move it just a little bit more. So it's behind, right? It's not in front. Right here. Then between these two, what you're gonna do is open your little yarn guide, and it says open it and place the yarn halfway or fully. And I'm like, halfway or fully? What they mean is you can pop it in here so that it's up here, if that helps you with your yarn, or it should be down here. And there's also like a little tensioner, but so you can either put it halfway like this, or you can put it in here and pop it through. There's like a little hole. I don't know if you can see that. They said the yarn should just move freely. So whichever one of these little tensioners helps you, and I guess this one's a little bit tighter because it's like pointier and skinny if you have your yarn pulled in there, but it's also larger, you know, I guess it just depends on whatever works for your yarn. And it says to definitely close that before you keep going because that could be a problem if you don't. The pins will hit that. So we're just gonna go for it. So it says whether you place the yarn halfway or entirely into the yarn holder depends on the yarn. It should run smoothly. Let me see if this continues. Is that the last we heard of these people? No. Number 7. You can now begin. Do not use force while turning the handle clockwise. It must move smooth. If you have the feeling that the stitches are not positioned in the needles tightly enough, simply pull at the bottom of the knitted piece. Now that's after we do a little bit. Obviously there's no knitted piece here for you to kind of like pull the tension down. When you've reached the desired length of your item, you have to cast off. And so we will get there when we get there. So, all right, guys. I see there's already a knot right here I'm going to contend with, okay? So we're just going to get started. Now, I'm paying attention and making sure hopefully everything is doing what it's supposed to do. Like that needle should catch. See, and it is. Oopsie. And that one should catch. We're all catching and pulling. Very good. The first couple rows you probably want to do slowly, so I'm doing this very slowly, probably too slowly. That's okay. I'm already here. Like I said, I probably should put this on the floor, but that's okay. All right. And oh, no. I'm still holding the yarn in my hand. I don't know why. I'm just gonna do that. Like that's just my fall back. Okay, we're at the beginning again, and that's round 2, which is interesting because didn't I reset it? I don't know if this counter is correct, but okay. Let's keep going. And just pay attention, you know, at the beginning, just to see that everything's going. And this is round 3, which, that was weird. I could have sworn I reset it. But I think what happened is when I first started, I wasn't at these black ones, so that's where it popped over to the number 1. So, okay, I'm just getting the yarn issues out. That kind of scares me, those first ones that always pops, and then it's fine. And here we go, guys. Everything looks good. I'm gonna keep going. I'll come back like at round 10 just to show you what that looks like. See right there? It always gives me like a weird little popping. Okay, I'll be back. This is our 10th round, and I can show you here. But again, I feel like that's actually 9, just because of where I had started my round. And here it says 10. And it's getting pretty good. So I'm not gonna mess with it right now, but once it starts getting longer, you can kind of pull, because what happens is it kind of wants to come up on itself, and then maybe it'll pop out of these little areas, you know? So you don't want that to happen, obviously. So I'm gonna keep going. Maybe I'll come back when there's like 30 or 40 rounds. Hope you enjoy that, just kind of going through some ASMR, I don't know, hearing the machine move or go. So this is round 32, and again, it's curling up. Like, I mean, this is a lot longer than you think because it's all curled up. So you can just give it a little bit of a pull. Some people use tension, not tension, but like little weights and stuff like that. I don't think this is the biggest deal, in my opinion. I'm not gonna bring out all these things. I even have knitting machines like that long one, I think from Boyd, who is it? Like the ultimate knit sweater knitting machine, and that thing was kind of a pain because when it was good, it was good. She would make panels like these long, you know, a whole blanket, but when she was bad, she was very bad. I guess I didn't put that video here on this channel because oh my gosh, that machine, I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but I even have the extra panels for it to make it extra long, and it's just, you know, with those you do want to use weights and all these things to keep the thing going pretty well, but with this, it's just a small project. I don't know, I just don't think it needs all that, but give it a little pull. Just everything's kind of down here instead of coming up and then possibly coming up out of these little areas. And let me see if I can rearrange just a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. So, you know, you have your pins, you have your needles or pins, and then you have this area right here, right? If this little guy slipped off over that and you don't notice, or didn't quite catch, or didn't bring it down and stay, you know, this guy didn't pop over this one, or whatever the issue might be, you're gonna drop stitches. So if these are up here and they're kind of floating and it's getting higher and higher and higher, you can see where maybe it might pop one of these out, right? So just every once in a while, give it a little tug here. Your project wants to roll up anyway, but after it gets so long, you can roll the project up so it's just giving its own weight, right, from the yarn that's just down there. But yeah, just keep working. I'll be back. So here we are. This is round 65 because I think I'm going to stop at 66 and I'm going to start doing my pattern. Just because I'm going to give myself a little bit extra, and then we'll do the pattern and then I'll finish it off. And I'm just kind of guessing right now, you know, as far as what I want to do. The pattern is going to take like 6 rounds. And we're going to repeat it like 6 or 7 times, you know, depending what you want. So I just chose a number. I know 60 is right in the middle of like a 120 row hat. Actually, remember this was off already. Let me do one more row, but I do want to show you how it's bunching up and it's starting to kind of move up again, like I mentioned. So you can bring that down. You can even, you know, twist this together, like I said, with its own weight. Maybe put a binder clip or something that helps you kind of keep that together there, and just kind of give it a pull. I'm gonna go ahead and go to 67 because, like I said, this thing had already clicked over to 1 when I didn't want it to. So that way I have 66 rounds basically. So let me finish off one more round, but at the end of this round, we're gonna stop right before the black pins. So where are we? I want to see where it actually clicks over. Is it here? Yeah, right there. So black pin up, that's the first one. And so what I'm going to do is release it. It does say 66, so I'm going to do one more full round and come back, because again, remember my counter is 1 off. I'll be right back. You know, I'm not too picky. I went one more round because I had passed the black ones and I was like, oh, I don't want to go back, because you can undo it. You can go backwards, but let's just keep it very simple for today. I don't care. I have 67 rounds. Fine. So what we're going to do for our pattern, and I hope I have enough. This is a huge skein of yarn and it's like, ooh, dwindling down. We're going to open this up. I'm going to take this out and we are going to wrap this. Okay. So whatever happens here, that's fine. We're going to turn our handle. We're not using this guide, that's all. Okay guys, sorry, I was going to do something about the lighting. I paused because the sun, you know, got covered up for us. I'm going to write down some notes though, because I started off on was essentially row 68, which is really row 67. That part doesn't matter, guys. Let's just write 68. Forget it. I don't even care. The thing counted 1, fine. We took the yarn out. You're going to close this up because you don't ever want to turn the thing with this open, just because your little needles hit that. So let's close that up, and we're going to take this out. And right at that first black one, and then just give it a little bit of a turn, you're going to wrap around those guys. So around in front of both of them. Okay, it's going to use a lot of yarn, and honestly, if you're doing intarsia knitting or all these fun things, you are carrying yarn a lot. So this is not anything weird. It's just how it looks. If you look at the inside of a sweater that has a lot of, like, I guess like ugly sweaters, you know, that's how it is. You're going to see a lot of yarn just kind of carrying in the back. So I'm not pulling this any tighter than it was. I hope, you know, I'm just kind of have it in my hand like a little tensioner, moving forward as we were doing. So I rewrapped those two, and now these two are popping up. So wrap around this guy and around this guy, okay? And as they move forward, the next two, these two need to be wrapped. Keep moving forward. These two need to be wrapped. Making sure that gets in there, so you don't want it to go too low. Like right here is a good time to wrap it. We're gonna go around the whole thing. We're gonna wrap around 2 needles at a time to the beginning, basically, you know, to the very last white needle before we get to the next black needle. So I'm just going to keep doing this. Here are these two, making sure they get in there. And you can keep an eye out over here, making sure things aren't just falling out. Okay, oh, there we go. I am keeping some tension, but not too tight. Ah, I want to make sure it grabs that. When they're both about the same height, that's the best time to do it. Oh, missed that one. Make sure it gets in there. Okay, and that's what I'm gonna do till I get back to the first, again, the very last of this round, but the first black one. Okay, so I'm really paying attention. It is kind of slower, but it's gonna be really pretty, so I'll be right back. So I'm turning here. I'm just gonna put this down so you can see a little better. I just got back to, I can see this black needle is coming up. Okay, so our last two wrapped. And then from here, we're just gonna, I'm just moving it just a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and take this and put it back into our tensioner. I mean, I'm gonna put it back. If you wanna just hold it, that's fine, but I'm gonna put it through here, put it through there just like before, close that up, and start just 2 rounds of just regular knitting. So after we have that, I'm just going to go around, making sure everything's good. Kind of slowly at the beginning, because we did come off of a weird kind of pattern that we were doing, right? So we're going to do 2 rows. You see how it's sounding different, right? It's like, this is weird. We just came off with some weird stuff here. There's 1 round. The black needles are up. 2 rounds of knitting. And now it sounds a little bit different, right? It sounds more like what we're used to. We are going to stop right before we get to the, right here. Okay, woo, just caught it. All right, so let's move this down. And this is the second part of the pattern. Again, super simple. We're just gonna take this out. And I got a little further than I would like. So I'm gonna back up just a little bit, guys. The smallest amount, because I'm scared. Let's take this out, take this guy out, close that up. We're gonna wrap around the last white pin of the last round, right? So we didn't complete a whole knit round the second time. We're just gonna stop 1 short and then the first black pin. So here we're gonna wrap, same as before, behind into the front, and go forward. And those guys went down, and again, a front, wrap around those two, and keep going. Oopsie, around these two, making sure we're catching. You don't want to not catch those guys. Around the back. I know if you're a beginner, it's just for me, you know, I hand knit, so like, it was just too basic to just go and just keep cranking, and just have a hat. That's, you know, super basic. So forward, knit, wrap around the two. Again, it goes around the back, in front of both of them, back around the back again. So here we go. And I'll do that until I get back to the first set of wraps. Okay guys, so we are back at the end, you know, getting close to these white pins, and then where the black one comes up. Now, since we wrapped two at a time before, I mean, I could wrap these two, I suppose, but I just came off of wrapping these two. I probably should have showed you that. Okay, so we went around, and this is the last pair, right? I just wrapped these guys. So I can't just wrap this guy by himself, and I'm not gonna wrap it to the first black one because this is the end of the pattern. So in the first one, we started, you know, with the black pins, wrap two at a time, knit 2 rows, just plain. And the next time, before we got to the beginning of this row, of the 4th row of the pattern, we wrap these two together, right? So now we're done. So this guy's on his own, but we want to knit it. So and we're gonna knit 2 rows. So that's the pattern. So I'm gonna bring this, you know, he's coming from behind here. Obviously we're gonna bring him up in here. He's basically gonna get caught there. And we're just going to knit that. So let me back up a little bit. I don't know if that helps actually. I know whenever I like to see things, I like to see it like up close. But we're gonna knit this and making sure that that catches, you know, we want this to actually catch in that first guy. And yeah, he's just right here, right? I'm looking at that needle, making sure it catches him. And yep, so I'm gonna do this slowly. We're gonna do 2 knit rows. And then we're gonna start the pattern again with the first 2 black ones being wrapped together, and then, you know, wrap all the way around. Right here. We just started that next one. And I am going to make myself a little note that I did 1 round of the pattern. So pattern, let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna do it 7 times. And all I did was write down that I started at 68 or whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna check mark that I just finished when I do this next 1 more round of knitting, okay? So I did that full round of knitting, starting with the one that was just by itself. We're gonna do another round of just plain knit. And the numbers on your counter should help you if you're making notes, recall where you're at. Oh, okay, hold on, back it up just a little bit. You saw I went too far? Okay, right there. I don't want anything to happen here. We're gonna pop this guy out, close it up. Starting from behind, we're gonna wrap in front of these 2, move it forward, wrap in front of the next 2, move it forward, wrap in front of the next 2, move it forward. Next 2, and I'm getting better at this as the time is passing here. It gets easier and easier. You're not pulling it so tight that you're like pulling these pins together. It's just placing it in there basically. Okay, so I'm gonna continue my pattern. Again, I'll just repeat it real quickly. The pattern starts wherever you want it to, right, in your pattern. I was thinking, you know, this would be really pretty probably for a scarf. What if this whole scarf was like this cool pattern, or the pattern and stitch and plain and pattern and plain, or whatever kind of mix-up you want, just to have texture, right? I think it'd be really fun. But I'm gonna pull this down. So our pattern starts at the very first black pin. You're gonna wrap 2, those 2 first black ones together, the next 2, the next 2, the next 2 you go through, all the way to the end. Then you just knit 2 plain rows. But before you get to the very end of that 3rd row, right, pattern row, knit, knit, before you get to the end of that one, you're gonna wrap the last white pin or needle with the first black pin of that next round, right? The one that's right next to it. Wrap, 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 wrap 2 at a time all the way around. And then when you get to the end, you're gonna have that 1 white needle that's just by itself because it's like odd now, right? We're just gonna knit it and knit 2 rows. And then start your pattern again. Starting off with the one that's the 2 black pins knit or wrapped around, and then keep going. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll try to write it in the description box in a way that makes sense. I don't even know if I could do that. I do better showing than writing. But so I'm going to continue the same thing until I have 7 patterns checked off. I'll be back. Guys, I'm entering the next little round of just doing the pattern, the second pattern, right? First white one, or last white one, first black one. I forgot to mention, they have numbers in here, so your needles have numbers, at least because the needle comes up here. This is just like a thing, I don't know, like a little guide that helps the yarn go back down. It's not a needle, okay? This is just a stationary thing. The needle pops up in between here, right? So this is needle number, 44, and this one's 45 and 46. So in a way, if you're looking and once your first little, this guy is way down and you don't know where it's coming from, it's hard to tell where you are sometimes. At the beginning, I can see it coming around. I'm like, oh, that's the beginning or the end of the round, right? Well, now it's buried down here and it doesn't matter anymore. So like, okay, let's pull this down a little bit. You can pay attention to the numbers. And I think I'm probably gonna mark my number, like this one in black or something, because the end and the beginning of the row is very important in some of these patterns. So like, maybe that helps you out to demarcate it somehow. But it does have numbers in here. They're like right here. I know they're hard to see, but they are there. So if you're always like, oh, I'm looking for needle number 45. So when it starts coming around to 42, 43, you're like, oh, okay, 45 is coming soon, So anyway, I'm just starting the last set of pattern where we wrap those 2 and then we wrap these 2. Again, if it does this and you're like, that's fine. Just bring it back here and bring it around. Oh, forward, forward, forward. All right, so I'll keep going. This is that little second wrapping, and then I'll do 2 knits, and then I'll start the pattern again. Okay. Hey guys. So I finished 7 full pattern repeats. Remember the pattern goes the first, wrapping, knit 2, the second set of wrapping, knit 2. So that's 6 rows in each pattern repeat. And I did 7. I thought I was going to do 6, and then I realized I already marked off 6. I'm like, oh, I guess I did 7. So that means that's 42 more stitches. It brings my counter to 112. Again, the 1 may or may not be there, right? Because of the way it clicked over the first time without having done a row. And so I'm just going to do the rest to 120. So, 7 or 8 more, but basically 8 more rows till the counter says 120. And then we're going to cast off, guys. So again, right at the end, I had knit 2 and that was part of the pattern. I'm just going to keep going, knitting 8 more, just straight knitting, and everything's been great. Nothing's fallen off, I don't think, of the needles. And I'm just going for it until my counter switches over. That's already 2 rows. Oh my gosh. I was gonna say, I think I've been here for maybe 45 minutes because the wrapping does take some time. Otherwise, I probably could have cranked this out much faster, but I'll be back. So basically it clicks over to the next number, like I'm at 190 right there, 120. As soon as it passes this one, it clicks over and that's it. So that is the end of my rounds. So 120. All right, we're going to cast off. So this is interesting. When you have reached the desired length of your item, you have to cast off. And they have a little typo there. Cut the yarn off to 35 inches. Pull it through the yarn holder and thread it into a plastic needle, right? The one that it came with. Okay, cool. This is the part that's kind of interesting. It says, while slowly turning the handle, go through each of the stitches, alternating from going through the front of and the back of the lowered needle. The suture retainer must remain closed during this time, as otherwise the needle may become damaged. And then you just hide, the end of the tail in the work. Now, what's interesting about that is I've never seen anybody do that. People mostly just catch it from wherever and they do it the same way every time. These guys are saying to get your stuff gathered up from in front of the needle and behind the needle, in front of the needle, behind the needle. So just something different. I don't know if that does anything, if it changes anything really. But, and they say to leave like 35 inches. Basically, it has to be enough to go around this whole thing, right? So this yarn, so you can kind of eyeball that. I don't know. Let's give ourselves basically a yard is what they're saying. So a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. So what you're gonna do is put that on here. Nice big needle. You see I didn't have to mess with that at all. You're gonna open this guy up. Now we have our last stitch, right? We want that to hold, but we're gonna open this up. We're gonna remove this. Let it stay in that last holder, but not in this one, right? Because we want it to get pulled down. So that's there. Close that up. And they're saying to bring it around. And as you bring it around, see how this needle's going down here? Okay, you can do a few at a time. You don't have to, like right now, if I keep going, I just took 4 off. Nothing is coming in here anymore. This is what we're using. And it says to alternate going in front of and behind. So I'm going to do that. Why not? Only because I've never seen that in videos. People mostly just pick it up the same way every time. So let's see if that makes a difference. So hopefully you can see what's going on here. And some people just go around the whole thing, go and let it go, you know, without anything, and then they come around and do the stitches, but they're saying to do it one at a time. I did a few. So this guy is definitely in here, right? Now, in front of and behind. So in front of, ooh, that's scary. I don't like that. In front. Well, that's actually behind, I guess. And then in front. They said to alternate, so that's why I'm doing this way. All right? You can pull all the way through. You can wait until you have a few. And so back here, because that's what they're recommending, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going behind this guy. And on the next one, oh, we already ran out. So I'm going to bring it forward a little bit, get myself some other loops in front. And let's just pull it through so we don't have all these guys getting knotted up as we do. And as you're doing this, guys, it's going to start falling off of the machine. I don't remember what I did there. I was in front. I can tell. You can tell from where it's coming through this way. So behind. And again, this is a little scarier actually because you can almost push that off, and that's not great. But most people just come around like this. They get this one, they get the next one, the next one, the next one, you know. But I'm just doing what the instructions say. See if that makes any difference. And let's bring it forward a little bit. It feels scary because you think like it's not doing anything, but it's fine. They are there. So again, behind. And that's why this needle is curved, because as you have it, see how it's a little bit curved? When you push it off, you're not pushing it off, it's kind of going in here because of that curve. There, and then in front. And I don't know if you can see, my work is falling off of this thing. Oh my gosh. Now it's a little bit easier. I can pull it through everything. And again, behind. If this is too tedious for you, just go in front of it every time. It's just going to be like a straight stitch anyway. And in front on this one. And as you're pulling, it's not going to get stuck or anything because this is just going to slip off of here anyway. So as you pull, it'll just pop off. Let's give myself a few more. Okay, guys, and that's all I'm going to do. Behind this one, in front of this one, and now it's coming off even more and more. Yeah, this definitely has a nicer feel than like a kid's toy type. And as you can see, it's coming off like there. So I'm gonna keep going until I get close to the end. Okay, guys, I'm not even gonna lie, I just started, oh, that was wonderful. I just started getting them all from in front because it was scary if you end up losing a stitch by pushing it off. I did that once and that was enough for me to say, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. So let's just finish this off. And I'm just going in front every time. It fits in there nicer. I don't know why it says in front of and behind, but whatever. Here we go. And we just have a couple more stitches on here. And I'm wondering if when you get to the beginning if it's tricky, but we'll see. So this is it. And this guy. Okay. So now that is off and their stitches are safe because they're over here. This that you see at the beginning is from the beginning of this thing, so if I pull it tight, it'll all come through. See how it's coming through? So I'm just pulling, guys. Sorry, it's out of frame. You don't have to do that yet because honestly, I don't think I want to do that yet, but let me just open that back up. Now let's see what we have. Oh, I was gonna pick this right up and it's attached to the table. So let me undo my little holders here and I'll be right back. These things hold it really nicely, no damage to my table. It didn't move like at all. Again, it has that rubberized grip. Even right now, it just was like stuck down. So that really helps. So let's put this guy to the side. And let's see what we have, guys. Okay, so again, this is the beginning stuff. And 46 pins. And if this is the very beginning one, it doesn't matter, we're gonna pull this tight, but maybe sometimes people like to keep them, you know, beginning and end about the same, so you know your piece is straight. I will pull this back as much as I can. I probably shouldn't have tightened it already. Oh well. This is our stitch. Looks really cool, right? That's pretty. And this is the plain part. And what we need to do is kind of give it a stretch. And just a little stretchy stretch. I don't know how to tell you how long this is. I don't really have much to say about that, but what we can do is at the beginning here, this is our first guy. Now, if you pull this a certain way, it is going to unravel, but it should, at this, essentially, when I pull it right now, pull everything together. So, what we can do is pull, 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 and again, just kind of getting that straightened out. Pull it all in, kind of tucking it in itself. And this is part of our hat. Now, if you pull this really tight, you're probably gonna rip this, so let's not do that. And this is just how I'm finishing this off. Of course, it's whatever you want. I am going to put this in here and just finish that guy off, because we're going to push that into our hat, into this other side. Since this is our pattern, this is gonna be the top of my hat, where I pull it tight, pattern, and then the brim and the hat. So you can definitely tie these guys together, but for right now what I'm doing is just wherever I came out of, I'm going to keep going in that loop. Try to make it as smooth as you can. You know, catch some more of the little loops that are there. Pull that tight. Everyone finishes things off differently. It's whatever you want. You know, when I crochet and I make like granny squares, oh, my pet peeve is when it comes apart later. I'm like, what happened? So then I have to go in and make repairs. And a lot of times just going around and around does not help. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to place a little stitch here just to make a knot. And I'm pulling it pretty tight, and then I'm gonna go back the same direction I came in. This is gonna be hidden inside the hat, so I'm not trying to be messy or sloppy about it, but I don't really care. So again, back in there. And we can make another little knot somewhere. Ah, well, look at that. This came apart. I will say this hole is very nice and big, which is great, but to thread the needle, but it just really falls off really easily. So let me just do one last thing. One last thing. I don't know what I said there. And just kind of go back in the other direction. Trying to bury this guy. So again, when you're weaving this in, do what you can to really get that in there. There should be enough, I don't know. There we go. So essentially, if you are only doing half this hat, this would be your hat. And when you put on someone's head, you can see all these holes in there, right? So I hope I didn't lose any stitches. I don't think I did, but this looks like a drop stitch right here, to be honest, but then it's fine. So I don't know. I'm looking, that all looks pretty good. There's just that one spot right here. Huh, curious. Okay, we're gonna turn this, push it in this direction. Now you can do this at any point, but if you want to tack it down, you're gonna want to tack it down, you know. Oh, should I show you the inside, the opposite side? Again, this is very much garter stitch looking. And on the other side, you have that stockinette look. So it's just very interesting. So that's the middle of my hat. I'm going to take this end and pull it tight. That's what we just worked when we took all of our stitches off of the machine. Here we go. I'm definitely going to cut this. This is way too long. And, you know, if you're going to put a pom-pom on here, if you're going to put it on and to be there permanently, you can definitely make that part of this work as you're weaving and putting things away. Let me flatten this out a little more. Yeah, so this is the middle. I have my finger in there and I can feel that. And this is the center of this one. So we're gonna wanna put that together. But for right now, again, as tight as you like, a few more stitches going in the same direction. That's what normally I do. Well, actually, where is this? Right here. Let's make sure we're getting, sorry. I don't want it to look sloppy. Okay, so let's just say like in here. I'm just going a few more stitches in the same direction, pulling it tight. And if you want to tack down that inside one, you can definitely just go through and feel kind of where that is. You can turn your hat inside out and see where that is, right, as I come through here. If I want this to tack down to not move, we can go into that second layer and come back out the top again, just kind of sticking it together, right? I'm just doing that in a nice, neat way. Just gonna pop this in here again and pop it through the other end. And this is just how I'm choosing to do this. All right? I kind of came out in this weird spot. So let's just go back through, and if you want to go back through the front, you know, definitely do that. We're just weaving in this end and trying to get it secure. And you can copycat some of these stitches, whatever it is that you need to do that makes you feel comfortable. And maybe back through here, and then I'll finish it off on the inside. Now I can see in this inside hole that there's like this little area right there that I can definitely use to help bury some of my stitches. Again, make a knot. Knots are your friend. Definitely, for sure. And maybe pull it through. Maybe tack it in here somewhere. Maybe another knot. I mean, you just really want to finish it off. Well, they want to finish off for me, so there you go. And you can double knot it too, just so it doesn't come apart again, because sometimes just a single little knot is more of a tie than it is a knot, isn't it? So, however you want. Thanks for sticking in there, guys. I know these kind of videos take a while, but that's just kind of how it is. All right, I'm just pushing it back through, and then I'm gonna hide it in my work. So whenever you hide it in your work, you kind of pull it tight, and then you can, pull it tight, cut it, and then it just kind of pops back into your work because of how tight you had pulled it. Okay, so let's take a look at this hat. Again, this is number 4 worsted weight yarn. It's bigger than I thought it was gonna be, I'm not gonna lie. If you wanna make it so that you can turn it inside out, of course it looks the same. I mean, obviously not the same because the other one has pattern, but since you have your pattern, basically that's the outside of your hat. I don't think I'd ever switch it up. This is a big brim, but the big brim is there because you can just turn it up like this, and then you have your little hat that has a big brim and that beautiful pattern. Hopefully you can kind of see how fun that is. I am surprised I didn't lose any stitches or anything in the pattern. Not so much that I'm surprised, I kept an eye out. You just gotta make sure that your yarn is going under the hook when it pulls it down when you're doing your looping, right? And other than that, I mean, it's good to go. Pretty. All right, guys, well, that was really fun to work with. I'm super happy to have an actual knitting machine, not just like a toy like the first one I had. And then that's easier to work with in a lot of ways than like this straight knitting machine that I have in the garage. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll have some images, I'll have the links in the description box, and I'll see you all at the next one. Bye now. Sorry guys, super excited. I'm kind of wrapping it up, but I should give you a measurement. So again, you can follow the pattern all the way up. I just think once it gets to a certain point, if you pull this, it's just not gonna look the same, but I just did the straight stitching or knitting on the top. This hat with the brim folded up is, I would say, 8.5 inches tall, and at the widest point down here, about 8.5 inches also. And I mean, it has a pretty good amount of stretch. I'm not stretching it completely, but hopefully you can kind of see what's going on there. And then I'll probably do the exact same thing on the Centro 40 pin, just so you can see the difference of the size of the hats and what one will make, what the other one will make. And like I said, I wanted the other one for leg warmers. We'll see, because if this is, it's only six stitches smaller, so let's say it's about that much smaller. I don't know. It may or may not work. I didn't really want to make double knit leg warmers. I wanted it to be just one round, one tube, finished off in a fun way, and But anyway, all right guys, I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.